Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Big Event. I'm your host, Kyle Hilsey, coming to you from our headquarters in Westchester, Pennsylvania. Now, today is a very special episode of The Big Event, and it's a little different. I mean, for starters, you can see us. That's right. This is our very first video podcast episode right here in our in-house production studio. It really is an exciting time, and it's a perfect example of what our topic is today. The future is visual, so might as well have you guys see us. And back with us again, probably our most joined guests on the episode. So I'm very excited. Yeah. So please welcome back Andy and Paul from the visual media team. Guys, welcome to the big event again. And hey, I'm loving your guys' production studio here.
Hey, thanks, Kyle. You know, it's appropriate that for the first visual episode, you brought the visual media department. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. It's like it ties all together. So.
That's right.
So no, I'm really excited. I know we've gotten to cover a lot of topics over the past few episodes, and I'm really excited to finally be in the production studio, really showing it off and really adding another level of caliber to the podcast. Yeah.
I mean, the move to the new building, getting us a dedicated studio space has been huge. A lot of new opportunity brought forward with that.
Yeah, and I'm excited. That's really what I want to get into today is the aspects of visual, video, really what's happening in just the event space and just even outside that, what you can do using a production studio like this. I'm really excited because I think there's so many opportunities. Really what we have here in-house is what I like to call like a black box studio. Right. It's really meant to be designed any way you want it to look. So I'm really excited to kind of get into our topics today.
Definitely, yeah.
So the one thing I've seen is there's really been a massive shift in how video is being used over the years. It's no longer just marketing, but we're really seeing big changes in events as well. I feel like when we looked over the last few years, the focus was really what's happening on stage, cut to play a video on the screens, back to the presenter. But I feel like now it's kind of evolved into like this full narrative. It's really incorporating video throughout the life of the event. It's no longer just a presenter throws to the wall or throws to the screen. I think there's a lot more nuance to it now. And that's really what I want to first ask you guys is why do you think video has become such an essential part of the event experience now?
A big thing that we've seen change recently is incorporation of more video screens on our live events. And, you know, we've moved a bit away from seeing a ton of printed backdrops to more video screen backdrops. And that naturally asks for video content to be made for them, as opposed to putting up a still image, which is basically just emulating a printed backdrop. We now have the opportunity to create motion in all of the things that would have previously been static. Yeah. Right. So, you know, things like the logo or the step and repeat. Now we can make it move, pulsate a little bit, have a little bit more flavor to it. And I think that sort of element is the spice that's getting sprinkled into a lot of our events now.
Yeah, it's definitely something I've noticed. I mean, I feel like the last few years, like doing events, there is becoming more of like a focus on like scenic, more of a focus on what's going on behind the stage. But it's like you said, it's not just printed backdrops anymore. It's like just having the big thing I've been seeing is like LED walls. I mean, you're seeing these dynamic motion backgrounds. It just adds that nice little touch flair to that event. It just, as the presenter's up, it's just that nice little extra touch. Yep. And a big thing I'm noticing too is just the cost of LED continues to go down. It's making it more accessible to all types of clients. It's no longer just like the big sales meeting at the end of the year where you have the budget. It's now like you're finding different sizes, different aspects to use, but LED is becoming more accessible to all walks of life for events. Right.
Everyone's gaining that benefit of the technology, you know, aging and improving.
Yeah. And with that accessibility, I think we've also started to see some shifts in just client expectations. So the other thing I was curious is, from your guys' perspective, what changed over the last few years have you seen in terms of client expectations with video content?
Yeah, I think that, you know, like we were saying, like I was saying earlier, you know, the expectation of seeing a bit more movement, you know, now instead of, you know, to hype up the crowd before the event begins, now we can use a large video element that perhaps spans across all of the screens of the space. We've got now, instead of, like we said, the printed backdrop behind the presenters, now there's a screen back there.
Yeah.
So we've got our 2 standard outboard screens plus that center screen. Well, we can do a lot of interesting stuff with that for intro segments, for when the speakers are walking out on stage. You can have a lot more motion happening there. And I think, that's the sort of thing that the clients are probably looking for, is to level up, basically. We've paid for these screens to be here. We want to see them get used. And so I think that's what they like to see.
Yeah. And that's a really good point. I think, and I'm sure everyone that's watching that has been involved in events, it's always tough with the kick off the event. There's so many attendees that are excited, they're chit-chatting, they're talking. And I feel like sometimes it's lacking when you just do the voice of God to like call somebody up on stage. You're still trying to draw those people's attention. It's just, everything gets lost and you kind of lose that wow factor of kicking off the event. But I know you guys have done a great job incorporating some more visuals to really kind of draw that attention, that countdown, that way that really quiet the room and really focus everyone to that center stage.
Oh, I mean, Kyle, you don't have to sugarcoat it. I mean, attendees do not pay attention. Before that first session, they're busy networking.
Yeah, exactly.
In order to capture their attention, you need something that hits hard and like is immediately eye-catching.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a huge part of, making the video be center, is making it big and making it loud.
Yeah.
And that helps a ton. It gets them in their seats.
And it brings up a show we recently did together just this past winter, even from an aspect I didn't know about. Some of the videos you guys were designing was also able to actually coordinate with our lighting, actually hitting cues and things like that.
Right.
And I would say from a programming perspective, it made the intro and kickoff to the event awesome. And I know our LD loved it too, because it kind of took a little bit off his plate to allow for everything to just run through your video playback, which was great.
Right. The video was driving some of the lighting, which we ran through the lighting console from the video playback. And that was, it was a big help because it basically automated itself.
Yeah, so it saved a ton of programming time, and I think it really just, again, added that extra wow factor.
Definitely.
So really wanted to keep going forward and really start focusing in on some of the aspects of what goes on behind the scenes. So one thing I've noticed is there's a lot that goes into capturing content that feels polished, but you still want that like authenticity. Like you still want it to feel authentic. You're not watching like a commercial. But some people don't really realize how many different video moments there are that can be captured throughout an event. It's no longer just what's happening on stage. It's happening what's outside the event, what's happening on off-site pieces. So the next question I have is, what types of videos do you typically capture for an event from planning to post-show?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, this is kind of your jurisdiction, Paul. You want to field some of this one?
Yeah, sure. So like when we're creating something like a highlight reel of an event, you're kind of just out there in the thick of everything, watching everybody like a hawk, people watching basically. And then you zero in on those moments. I think the best thing is to just know your limits as far as like what the client wants you to. Some people want you to get right up in there. Like even I've done plenty of events where I was able to walk right on the stage, follow somebody from their walk up all the way to the podium, and but some clients don't want that. So it's really just knowing your limits, and then you just get everything. You like watch for those moments. Something that you have to really have a keen eye for. Yeah.
What are the types of things, like it obviously it makes sense when you're thinking about like walking onto stage and things like that, but like crowd reactions, like those networking opportunities, what specifically are you looking for? Like what kind of triggers you to like, oh, this might be a really good moment? Like what are the things you're kind of keeping that sharp eye out on?
Well, so much of it is like watching people themselves, like if two people seem to be approaching the other, and they look like they have this glint in their eye, like, I haven't seen this person in 3 years and they're about to give each other a huge hug and just a huge interaction like that. You want to be capturing that, and you can kind of watch for that. If it's event related, I would say that you just know that you can't bump into people, right? But you have to just insert yourself right up in there. Yeah. Because it has to be improvisational, because there's no way to plan around the fluid dynamics of 100 even up like 300 or 400 human beings kind of like, you know, like a mosh pit, just like mashing into each other, you know, like that.
Yeah. And it's smart. Like you said, you're being aware of your surroundings, because you're right. I mean, these are natural moments, and it's like, you can't just go back up to attendees like, hey, I missed that hug. Can you guys do it again? Like you've lost that magic to that piece. And that's a good point. I mean, you want to be behind the scenes. You want to not be so up on them, but at the same time, you can't be too timid to miss the moment, because you want to be there. You want to be able to capture, because again, it's just going to play so well. And I think when you guys do those highlight reels and we show them off at the events, I feel like it really does add that extra touch when we're talking about, yes, you want that polishability, but you want it to feel authentic. You want it to feel natural. I feel like those are the perfect examples or the opportunities to capture, to then make the whole thing tie together.
Very much so.
Absolutely. And I do want to say that Paul is, Paul, as you know, Kyle, but our audience may not know, Paul is our #1 camera operator in the visual media department.
Yeah.
He's our guy. And, you know, I'm usually there helping produce and like keep an eye out for the crowd and trying to help him find moments. But man, this guy can spot a moment from a mile away. I've seen him run across the ballroom because he knew that there was going to be an excellent, like someone was going to do a cool handshake, or like, you know, there's a high five coming, and he would spot it way earlier than I would. So you guys, everyone out there wants this guy on the show. Yeah.
And I will say, I've definitely taken a few checks from Paul when there's been walk-ups and I needed to get out of the way. Paul will not miss that moment.
Oh yeah, he gets in there with that camera, and you know, that's what you want him to be doing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's the perfect combination, because the next question I wanted to talk to you both about is, obviously these highlight reels, they look awesome, but it's not like you're just walking into the ballroom or the event and just turn on the camera. There's still like a plan. I really wanted to get your guys' opinion on what it takes to plan to shoot a great highlight reel. This is not something you're just walking into.
Oh yeah. There's definitely some pre-planning.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, just once again, it's just finding out where, like what the clients like, how violent they need you to not be. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because like what you said, you do have to have a certain amount of, for lack of a better word, violence, and just like, you know, beelining to any moment that you see, like a hawk. As far as planning goes, it's just knowing which event you can't be at literally every place. Yeah. And sometimes, like during a show, you can't be at every single type of event that's within that show. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you guys have to determine a hierarchy of where must I be? What moments can not go uncaptured?
And there's also an element of, before we go out and shoot the highlight video, there's a conversation with the client about what the tone wants to be, you know, what especially what's the tone of this meeting, and what tone do we want to send the audience home with? Because typically these highlight videos get played back either at the very last session of the show, or they get posted online as like kind of a recap afterwards. And so the question being, what type of tone, what sort of message do we want to send at the end? And, you know, sometimes the show is, all these people haven't seen each other in like 3 years. This is we only do this event every so often whenever there's a need to do it. So we need to talk about like this once the tone of collaboration or coming together.
Exactly. That's kind of like, if you talk with the client about like, okay, do you want a bunch of shots that look like people interacting like in the intro of the show Friends? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, do you want that? You know what I mean? Some clients don't actually want that.
No, that's a really good point, because I feel like it's something, it's not necessarily always top of mind. You think you go into a highlight reel, you're like, I'm going to capture the normal things, people walking on stage, friendly hugs, all these kind of things. But that's a really good point. I mean, if you're working with a client, if you're planning to do your own highlight reel and the tone's more educational, I guess you're trying to maybe avoid more of those friendly interactions. You're trying to get more of like the studious ones, people in breakouts that are diligently at work, or there's this people presenting on stage. That's a really good point to make.
Yeah, we did a show maybe a year or so ago in the city, in Philadelphia, and it was a pharmaceutical show, and they were releasing some new super awesome drug, you know, as these pharmaceutical shows often are. But you know, it became more about like we're announcing the super cool thing, so we want to make sure that we are highlighting the presenters on the stage, like really like hitting the points. Like it was a bit more about what we're presenting as opposed to the people viewing it. You know, obviously the people receiving the information was important, but not as important as the message that we're trying to send. So every event kind of has a different flavor to it.
And to your point, like it's coordinating with your client, coordinating with the people. Like you said, you can't be there all the time, so obviously you have to run through with them. Hey, what areas do you really need to make sure I'm there at to capture? And just getting those run of shows, because it's going to help you even like timeline it out, so that way you can make sure you're in position at that time for that space.
Exactly. There's a decent amount of coordination with the live event team, which makes, you know, us being a part of advanced staging very important.
Yeah.
You know, because we can just talk right to the project manager, the show caller, and say, hey, what side of the stage are they going to be coming out from for this one? How can we prepare for it? So it's good to have that kind of close-knit level of collaboration with the AV team.
And I feel like that makes it even easier when, like, again, having you guys on site working with us. I mean, it's no longer, if you're working with your events team, having an outside video production agency. That, yes, everyone plays nice together, but there's that familiarity, like having you guys backstage. You know everyone by name, you know the nuances, you know exactly like, hey, I'm going to stand here, I'm going to work with you here, or just you've already worked together so well, you know how it almost feels like a dance backstage of like everyone's working around each other.
It also helps with the final deliverable as well, because we've already been talking with the video tech who's managing the playback.
Yeah.
So we know what sort of file they might be expecting. We know what sort of resolution they might need, what codec they need. All of these important factors that can normally trip up someone if that conversation isn't happening.
Yeah.
We are guaranteed to have, you know, because we're talking with these people every day basically at the shop.
Yeah, so I mean I think that's a perfect way to show how the two teams can incorporate and work with each other. This I think is a perfect way. I wanted to shift gears, but I feel like we've been really talking about a lot of live events, the video aspects to it, but video goes beyond, especially what you guys are doing outside of just live events. There's so much more that you can do with video, especially there's not just about like short form videos or social clips. I feel like we're starting to see a rise in long form content too, specifically like podcasts like we're doing right now.
Exactly.
Or even like branded interviews. I know you guys are working with clients, not even just during events, but you're doing interviews to launch a new product. Maybe you're doing an interview to talk long form about like their company, different like commercial types. So I really wanted to get into this aspect as well. So the first question I have is, what types of clients or events do you see that benefit from podcasting like us, or even just studio-based content like we're in now?
Yeah, I think we have a client that we work with regularly who it's a software-based company, right? And they release updates with new, you know, innovations to their software every so often. It's usually like, I think, biannually. And they do a live stream for it where they go through examples of what the new software is. And this is long-form video content. We get them into a studio environment. We record them on camera with a teleprompter explaining what the new offering is, how it works. And then their voiceover includes narration over an example of what that new product is, right? And so we will incorporate, in editing, we'll have a piece of content that shows that new product alongside the person in the studio talking about it. And that, you know, it's not a podcast, but it is a similar form of long form content that we're producing.
Yeah. And it's funny. I feel like when I talk to people, podcasts obviously have been around for a while, but it still keeps seeming like it's on the rise. More people are trying to expand into it.
Right.
And the one thing I've talked to a lot of people about is there's this fear of worrying there's not going to be like an audience. They're like, like what I'm talking about or what I do is very niche. But the thing they need to remember, even like us, like this is a specific podcast just about the event industry. But the people that work within this industry or whatever industry that you work in, the people who are passionate about what they do, trust me, you have an audience.
There's a niche audience everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And if there's something you want to talk about the company or part of the industry, it's like, get the content out there. Start talking about it. Trust me, there are listeners and people love it for the work that people do. They love what they do and they want to hear more about it. They want to participate. They want to communicate. And I think almost anybody can benefit from content like this.
Well, I mean, like the popularity of podcasts in general is just proof that people, you know, love to witness a conversation. You know what I mean? It feels like you're sort of a part of it.
Exactly.
Right.
Way better than, I mean, to be honest, you know, some like products like sell better, or like some like a service when it's like people collaborating and like talking about it versus like a commercial sort of thing where people are talking at you, the audience. You know, it's like,
Right.
hey, this product sounds pretty great. You said it, Tim.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, a conversation, whether you're a part of it or not, is much more engaging, much more resonating.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel like it gives the viewers, the listeners, an inside look into who you are, who your company is. Like you said, it's not just a commercial of like, we could do a commercial selling advanced, saying, hey, we do live events, we're awesome, we're great. But by doing podcasts like this, it gives our viewers an area to like really get to know us, the people that work at Advanced. And I think every type of company could benefit from that.
Absolutely. And the barrier for entry is pretty low, I would say. You know, obviously we're an event company. When we have the visual media department, we can put together something like this. But I mean, to that same point, you know, we're here, we're available, and our studio is available. So, you know, like I said, the barrier for entry for us is low, but also we're offering this sort of thing to others who may want to come try it out. So, you know, we're here to make it happen.
Yeah, no, and I think it's a perfect way to go into the next question I have is for our clients, for the people listening, watching, before they get started, what should they think about before launching a podcast or doing like studio shoots? Like, what should they need to know?
Yeah, I think, you know, the number one thing, especially if you're a single person, you know, it's going to be you hosting, obviously. But if you're more of a company that's thinking about starting this sort of thing and spinning it up, you want to find the most charismatic person you've got in the office. You know, that person is going to, you know, carry the flag for you. You can have guests come in, you can have other people come in, but you probably know, you know, just from sitting around the office talking to everyone, you know who that person is, who's going to be great on camera.
Yeah, if there's somebody in your office that you've always thought like that person should do stand up, or something like that,
or just very personable. It's like always constantly yes ending. It's not just the short. Yep, that sounds good.
And you do have to kind of keep an open mind, because there on occasion that person, you know, can clam up in front of the microphone or the camera. So you do want to also keep a couple options in mind, right? There's probably someone you're not thinking of that's like, no, they would also work really well. Get them in, give them a try. They might be the perfect host for you. So I think that's the number one thing you got to be looking for, is you got to find that talent internally and get them in.
And the one thing that everyone should consider when they're looking to do content like this is there still needs to be an element of scripting. Like, you can't just open up the mics, turn the camera on, and just start recording. You still, even it doesn't have to be a full script where you're reading it line by line, but you still need bullet points. You still need pieces to reference and to keep everything on track, to keep your guests, keep yourself on track, to know what you're going to talk about.
I mean, even you have come in with questions prepared for us, so it's a perfect example.
Yeah, and the big thing too is you don't have to do it alone. Like, again, this is why we're here in the studio space. This is actually something that we're offering to all of our listeners. If you have gotten that idea of like, man, I think this would be cool, or like, I'd love to maybe flush out some more ideas, that's what we're here for. I mean, just give us a call, reach out to us email-wise. Just reach out to us. We'll help you plan it out. This is something that we do. We can help talk through, or even just give you a tour of the space. So that's the benefit of having something like this in-house. Yeah.
And like you said, even a tour can help create those creative juices, getting them flowing, you know, like, oh yeah, you can do that sort of thing. Yeah. Well, yeah, give it a try.
And that's what I really like about the studio space is it's yours to build. Like, I feel like sometimes you see some of these studios, they're almost pre-built. It's the prop pieces, the set, the stage, it's all preset, and you have to conform your image to what's already there. But having a space like this, it's kind of yours to play with.
Yeah, and I think, you know, for transparency to our audience here, what you guys are seeing is, you know, we've built this set here, we've put these screens here, we've put this drape up, but the room we're in is just an empty box. It's got, you know, gray painted walls, and it's typically empty. You can put anything you want in it. Yeah, and that's, like you see, we've transformed it into this. Yeah, and you can build it to any way you please, and that's the nice thing. And again, why having this in-house studio that's attached to our live events, we have all of the gear, it's
set
a
pieces
full warehouse of it.
So it's been great. So I want to keep moving forward. The big piece I also want to talk about is whether you're working with us, another production partner. I feel like video still can feel overwhelming to some people. It's that space you don't want to, sometimes you get nervous about dipping your toe into, but it doesn't have to be. So one of the questions I have is, for our audience out there, our listeners, our viewers, what's one simple way they can start using video more effectively into just their overall workflow, whether they're doing it from a marketing perspective. They're getting ready to do it for events. What's one simple step they can start working on right now?
I think an important thing to think about with video is it's more eye-catching than a photo or just text. Think about your social media feed and how much of that is video now, right? The algorithm knows that video gets eyeballs, so you gotta play the game. Basically, you gotta.
It's knowing that it's time to evolve. It's always something that if you want to stay ahead, I mean, you just got to keep up with what is trending.
Yeah, I mean, video is flashier. It's more engaging. Like we were talking before, even in the live event setting, you want that kind of movement happening all the time. You want to leverage the tools you've got, and video is like the number one way to do it right now.
Yeah, I would say piggybacking off of that is that like as you're scrolling through your own feed, start to notice what actually captures your attention.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you can kind of audit yourself for what's actually interesting to me.
Yeah.
And that's probably a good sign to what's interesting, for your industry then. You work in your industry, what's catching your eye. You're probably a good example for what might work for either your vendors or your clients or whoever you're trying to reach.
Yeah. And Paul, you made a point earlier that I really liked was this is your opportunity to add more personality to it. It's not going to feel so commercial. It's not going to feel so like, hey, this is a great product. It's like it feels more authentic when people are watching. It's like, this doesn't feel like I'm watching an ad. This just feels like I'm watching a typical video. I'm talking to a friend or I'm watching a friend.
People are more attuned to fake video, fake interactions than ever.
Right.
Very sensitive to it. So it's got to be authentic,
Yeah. And speaking of authenticity, the next question I have, which I think is going to really help our listeners, viewers, is what's one common mistake you're seeing people make when they're approaching video and really what should they do to avoid it?
I think the number one issue I always see is over-preparedness. Take what we're doing here, for example. Paul and I knew what questions you're going to ask us, but we don't have a script in front of us. We don't have prepared answers for it. We just knew the question. So maybe we could kind of percolate on it. Yeah. But we're not coming in with scripted answers. We're not on teleprompters or anything.
Exactly.
That sort of thing can really stiffen up some presenters. And some people are better at it if they have some words planned out. Every person's different. But I think you want to, especially in content like this, where it's supposed to feel casual, you want to feel that connection with your audience. You want that sort of level of on the fly, off the cuff feeling. And if you're too scripted, it then turns into what you were talking about before, that kind of informal, like you're being talked at instead of hanging out with this person on the content.
I would agree. It definitely feels like robotic. Like like you said, we don't have full scripts. We're not looking at teleprompters or anything, but I would say like you almost feel more stiff. Like there's not that natural like interaction between guests.
Right.
Yes, you want to have everything scripted out. You want to have a plan, but you don't want to read line by line because again, it's just it doesn't feel as authentic.
Right.
Yeah, that's a really good answer. My answer for that, for what makes a bad video, is bad audio.
Oh yeah, huge. Yeah,
huge component that people seem to forget about a lot.
Yeah,
and people will actually naturally notice bad audio before bad video. So you got to come crystal clear, have a decent mic, you know what I mean, and aim yourself at it like this right now.
Talk right into it.
No, you're right, because it's very jarring. Like you see this like well edited video, crystal clear image, but then it just sounds off, or it sounds
I will shut off a video as soon as I hear like bad audio. I don't
you can't do it. And I think that's another thing that sets us apart is all of the content that comes out from the visual media department, we run through our audio department. We have this is another advantage we have at Advanced Staging. We have a robust audio department here of audio techs who all know the craft. They're all experts at it. I'll be honest. These guys can talk circles around, mic pickup patterns and the EQ needs to sound like this. These guys know their stuff. And we make sure that every one of our videos passes through them in an audio editing phase to get their expertise, to get that mix sounding great, make sure the music's not overpowering the voiceover or any of that. And you know what? I'll be honest. I think just about all of our videos sound better than a lot of content I see out there right now.
Yeah. And when you have that mix, I feel like then, I don't want to say audio takes a backseat, but like you said, when it's bad, it's very jarring. But when it's great, it just blends well with video and it just feels more immersive. Like you kind of lose that sense of the two.
Yes. Yeah. That mix is huge.
Yeah. And I would say, no, it's been great. And I mean, that's the benefit of working here with us, coming into a studio like this. You have everybody at your disposal. I mean, we have great audio guys. I mean, shout out to our producer, Scott, behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He popped up when Paul mentioned audio. You knew we were talking about him.
Yeah. So, no, and like I said, this is where I think firsthand you can experience. You're watching it. You're listening to us. I mean, this is what helps us.
Right.
So, no, Andy, Paul, I mean, I really want to thank you again. Like I said, you guys have probably been my most attended guests coming on for episodes. And it's only fitting to have you guys back on for the first video podcast here in the studio. So I really appreciate you both being here today.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. And, I think before we forget, we shouted out Scott, but we should also shout out the whole crew that's currently behind the cameras. We've got Keenan and Manny back there, doing the work, making us look as good as we possibly can. I mean, look at us. So
no, thank you guys. And like I said, for anybody that's interested in doing studio work like this podcast, again, we have the studio space available. We have the crew, the team available. So again, even if it's just to start thinking about conversation or thinking about a topic, that's what we're here for. But no, we have the full team here to support you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So before we wrap up, I just want to give you guys a chance. Are there any final thoughts or anything you'd like to share in terms of what we talked about today, the studio, anything like that?
Yeah. I mean, there's just a ton of new opportunities. Paul and I are always looking into new equipment to bring into our repertoire. We recently got a first-person view drone, and we did a whole kind of tour through our new building in a special kind of highlight video that we did about our move into the new building. I think we'll be posting that soon if we haven't yet already. So keep an eye out for that. What do you think, Paul?
I think things are going really well.
Yeah.
Hey, that's it.
Way to sum it up. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's it.
No, so again, thank you guys. It's been great. I always love having a conversation with you. So no, thank you both, and hopefully I'll get you on for another one.
Awesome. Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle.
Thank you for listening today. I really want to just appreciate everyone that has been listening to all of our episodes and really was excited to do our first video podcast. But one thing I wanted to talk about is if you're looking to elevate any of your content, especially from video, whether it's live events, highlight reels, or even starting a podcast like we're doing today, we'd love to show you what's possible here in the new studio. So if you'd like to learn more, if you'd like to just understand what we can do or just want to bounce ideas off us, please feel free to reach us at info@advancedstaging.com or follow us on our socials at Advanced Staging. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And we'll get you on the next time at the big event. And remember, with Advanced Staging Productions, every event is the big event.